And we're back once again, only on it's Last Call. Last Call at the Alcohol, only on the lastcallpodcast.com. And join me here on location. Well, after a wild weekend with lots of breaking news, lots of fights, lots of analysis, we got to bring this guy on because he's going to tell us what's going on, what's happening, get us down to the nitty gritty, and he's not going to pull any punches or take any dives. I give you once again from Topology, from MMA Odds Breaker podcast, and also from Eurosport UFC, I give you it's none other than Marcel Dorff. So, Marcel, usually we talk about fights right off the bat. This is going to be a little bit more somber.
Yeah.
If you don't know people, well, now you know. Duke Roufus passed away this weekend at the age of 55. Passed away in his sleep. I'm trying to find words to put it in context because if you try to explain, this is one of those guys in MMA, it just doesn't do it justice. He was a fighter. He was a trainer. He founded Rufus Sport. He was also, to a lot of his fighters, part manager, part big brother, part father figure, part Svengali. I mean, you hear all the fighters come out and just talk about him, and breaks your heart, Marcel, because we don't see a lot of guys like this. So when we do, it hits you because you realize he had a huge impact in this sport.
Mhm. Yeah, very influential guy, definitely in the Milwaukee, Wisconsin scene over there, had his own Rufus Sport gym, trained fighters like the Anthony Pettis, Sergio Pettis, Paul Felder, Bilal Muhammad, I mean, he was a pretty big figure over there, and he also is a former kickboxer. He fought in K1 as well. That's the first time I saw his name coming by. Duke Roufus and I think Rick Roufus, and that's the first time I saw his name coming by. That's when I wasn't following MMA yet. So yeah, big influential guy, man. Great, amazing coach, and yeah, it's just sad, way too young, I think, and I think the UFC did some great. They showed some great stuff from him, like before they did the picture before the show started, and they had like a short conversation with Paul Felder and DC and Fitzy on the during the fights or between the fights, which was good, and also Brandon Allen took a moment because he also trained with Rufus before, so. Yeah, what can you say, man? It sucks, It sucks for these guys. It sucks for his family, obviously, and I want to wish my sincere condolences to his family, his loved ones, and obviously to everybody who had a great bondage with Duke Roufus. And yeah, it's just a sad story, and it came pretty much out of nowhere. I think it was Friday evening or Friday afternoon. I think Friday evening I heard it first. I saw MMA Fighting posting it, and man, it kind of shocked me, because yeah, I mean, obviously you didn't see this coming, but somebody who's still that young, in my opinion, you just don't see it coming.
When you look at who he's trained, I focus on the guys who were the original group, and a lot of them, you look at Pat Barry, Emmanuel Sanchez,
Yeah.
Eric Koch. You talk about Ben Askren, Sergio Anthony Pettis, Jens Pulver. It's funny. I would joke with people. He would take in anybody as long as were willing to train. And there were some of these guys where, even I'll admit, they were a little bit rough kids from the streets of Milwaukee. Characters, most gyms would probably look and go, "Oh my god, we can't take you guys in. You're just too much." He did it, and you deal with a lot of fighters, Marcel. How big is it sometimes when a trainer can relate to different people, especially people who are not the society norm, not from middle class America, not guys who just are what we want in athletes. They are a little bit more rough around the edges.
Yeah, I mean, it's very important, of course. We've seen it with other coaches as well. I mean, we had Sean Tompkins who passed away. Saul Solis for the Texas community in MMA was very important. I forgot another guy. I forgot his name. So my apologies for that. That was, I think, Misha Tate's coach. if you can find his name, let me know. But these guys were like I mean, they connect with these people, you know, and they make it their home. And with a lot of guys who you see it many times with fighters when they go into MMA, it's like, this is my destiny, you know, this is the last thing in my life I can do to become where I want to be. So these guys are very important, you know, and yeah, man, I mean, there are not words to describe how much of a loss sometimes, and most of the times people are passing away, because I mean, let's say 99% of the people are loved and cannot be missed who are passing away. But when it happens like out of nowhere and this abrupt, you know, it probably hurts even more, you know. So I don't know what I can say exactly about it, but yeah, it sucks. I mean, you saw how emotional all these guys were, so he was really loved, and yeah, I hope, yeah. What can I say, man? What can I say? It just fucking sucks, man.
One of the things I think I need to be told is, and this is when we were interviewing Rafion Stotts.
Yeah.
And we've seen it a lot, you know. Fighters all of a sudden start fighting other guys. Yeah, it happens. One guy becomes champion, his stablemate becomes a number one contender, and then there's, well, who's which coach is going to pick that? You know, who's picking who? What's going on? And one of the things I remember Rafion was saying was about Duke was he wouldn't pick sides.
Yeah.
That I will stay out of this. I won't, you know. That says a lot when you think of it, because here's the guy Rafion who's younger and, you know, still with a Roufus sport guy, but he's a younger guy, and he was very close to Pettis brothers. You hear them break, you know, and it breaks my heart because both Sergio and Anthony refer him as, he is our brother. He is, you know, like a father figure. We miss him. And yet he still knew, okay, I got to take care of all my troops. I can't, you know, pick sides there. How big is that when we've seen in the past, like, you know, the sacred cows, you know, get a squeaky wheel, they get favorites. So when a coach can go, I will stay right down the middle, not pick sides. That shows you the character of a coach.
Yeah, I agree. We actually had the same thing on the main event last on the UFC card this Saturday with Henry Hooft. But yeah, I mean, obviously, yeah, I mean, you cannot pick sides. You know, when teammates fight each other, you cannot pick sides as coach. You know, and I think that makes a lot of sense that you don't do that. And I mean, as long as there's respect between each other, you know, I think that's good. You know, and yeah.
Here's the other thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Here's what I also give him credit for. There was no drama. And let's face it, everybody also, for a lot of the casuals, you remember Roufus Sport from CM Punk's debut. He was the guy who trained CM Punk. And you can imagine that must have, you know, there were probably fighters who not happy that CM Punk is fighting. Hey, why is this guy here? Why is he taking time away? You know what? This celebrity guy is fighting. He's getting more money. He made it work. And again, it's, how big is this for the loss for MMA? Just because you don't have enough good coaches who can do all this, who can train fighters, train UFC fighters, and yet at the same time just not let everything blow up, especially in a sport which it's easy for. We see fighters and trainers blow up almost all the time. How much celebrity's gone now?
We'll need to see, man. But I mean, if it's out of nowhere, pretty much. Nobody expected it, right? What I've read, so we'll see, man. It just, like, I know you want to give me a full story on this, but I don't really know what to say. It just sucks, you know, when somebody passes away. And definitely, listen, if there were any like signs that somebody is ill or something, then it still sucks. But at least people know then about it. But this is so abrupt, out of nowhere, you know, which makes it harder, you know, I think. And yeah, I don't really know what to say correctly because, again, like I told you before, English is not my first language, you know, so I don't want to say something that is stupid or doesn't sound correctly. But yeah, what you want me to say is just.
I don't know. I mean, I guess that's the thing. How tough is it right now for us? Because we, as you said, we didn't see it coming. I mean, he just all of a sudden, like, passed away in his sleep on October 15th, and we were like, oh, you know, as you said, you were telling me a story a couple months ago. You two were doing, you know, talks of sending some emails, you know, possibly doing some business, and as you said, it's all of a sudden like, oh crap, what happened?
Yeah, I talked to him briefly on Instagram DM. He asked me a question. I helped him with topology, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, it caught me off guard as well. You know, like everybody, pretty much. You know, I saw that I was scrolling my Instagram and I see Duke Roufus with like date a year of birth and like a year of passing away. So 2025. It's like, what the hell is happening here? You know. Which will again, I cannot add anything more that has value here, man. It just sucks, you know, and that's all I can say, man.
We're once again, if you rest in peace, Duke Roufus.
For sure.
My condolences go out to everybody in his family and Roufus sport. As we said, you know, one of the true good guys in this sport who, no matter who you were, he would have make time for you. He would work with, you know, any kind of student who wanted to work, who wanted to train, and the sport is it's going to hurt because there's one more good guy who's lost, who's been taken from us too early. But
Mhm.
we got to move on. So let's move on to it was UFC Vancouver and Reiner de Ridder losing to Brendan Allen, and we'll talk about the fight in a second. Let's talk about afterwards about Brendan Allen because took this fight last notice.
Yeah.
Fighting for for to honors his Duke Roufus, fighting for possible title shot, knows he's in it, knows he's coming against this juggernaut fighter. You had to be impressed with him and just his composure afterwards because the first things out of his mouth instead of just talking trash was, I want to take a moment to to remember Duke Roufus who passed away.
Yeah.
I couldn't do that. I mean, how impressed were you, Marcel, just to composure after the fight when you knew there's probably 1,000 emotions going through that body, and it's just you don't know which one's taking over.
Yeah, I was very impressed with Brendan Allen. I would say, man, definitely. Listen, the first round, I wasn't too impressed because I thought that Rainier looked really good in the first round. But man, after the first round, dude, at a certain moment in the second round, I mean, Brendan took completely over. I don't know what Rainier was gassed or whatever happened. I have no idea. But Brandon looked amazing, you know, and yeah, I mean, full credits to him, you know. And listen, I always thought Brandon a good fighter, you know, and I didn't see it coming. I gotta be honest with you, you know that I didn't see it coming. I said that last week. I think Rainier probably wins the fight, you know. But Brandon looked good, man, and he had great cardio. 3 weeks notice, came in shape. Um, Gave away the first round, but besides that, he looked great, you know. And I mean, he broke Rainier pretty much, you know, and that's a big feather in his cap, in my opinion. Massive win for him, man. And like you said, great afterwards, like giving his respect to Duke Roufus. But man, he looked really good, man. I was really impressed by him. So yeah, all credits to Brandon, man.
So where does Brent first? Let's talk about where
Yeah,
does he go next. So look, he's started off at welterweight. He's now fighting at middleweight. He's fought at light heavyweight for a couple bouts. Should he be next in line? I mean, he just beat most people to argue the number two, probably best middleweight in the world, and he forced him to submit in between rounds. I mean, this wasn't like, oh, he caught him with a lucky punch or he caught him with a slick move. This is just taking him out back to take him out to the back woodshed and just give him an ass whooping. So does he jump the rank? Should he get Khamzat Chimaev next?
no, I also don't think that's gonna happen. That he's getting Khamzat Chimaev next. Chimaev was probably fighting Imavov now. I mean, also because Brandon lost to Imavov and he lost to Hernandez, you know. So I think Brandon gets somebody like a Dricus du Plessis, maybe, you know, and maybe the winner of that one gets a title shot, you know, against the winner against Khamzat. Maybe I mean, you can do an Adesanya fight, you can do a Barrio fight, but I think he gets a DDP, for example. I think that makes sense. Um, but he put himself completely back in the title picture again, man, which is really well done. I mean, he was in a 2-fight losing skid, and he beat Marvin Vettori in the fight of the night contender. And then he beats Reiner de Ridder in a fight that a lot of people counting him out. So, gotta give the guy credit, man. I really like Brendan Allen. I always liked the guy, but I didn't expect him to win here. But yeah, he did well. And Renier didn't have anything anymore for him after 1.5 round or anything. So got to give the guy lots of credit here. He beats Renier. Renier, what I've heard in the back, that he might have gotten a title shot if he won that fight, but he didn't. And I don't think Brendan gets a title shot because he lost before the Vettori fight. But he's close, man. Listen, if he fights, for example, Drickers and he beats him, he can be next for a title shot. So yeah, very big win for Brendan Allen, this one. And I'm happy for the dude. I'm from the Netherlands, so obviously people over here weren't very pleased with the Ridder losing. But I like Brendan a lot. I always like the guy. He's a really, really nice dude. A lot of people always have comments on him, but he's a really good dude. And I'm happy for him that he won. And a very good win, big win for him.
Where does Reiner de Ridder go from here? Because, as you said, first round, he's dominant. He's doing everything he can. He's taking control, takes him down, works some submissions. And then, as you said, the second round, it's almost like, what the hell happened? Did your soul leave your body? What's going on? What the hell? Where does he go from here?
That's pretty simple, man. He needs to fight another one. I think now, like Paulo Costa called him out. That was a bullshit fight, obviously, in my opinion, before this fight. But after this fight, I think it makes sense. You can do a 3 or 5 rounder against Paulo Costa. I think it makes a lot of sense. So that's a fight I think you could do.
What does Renier need to work on, in your opinion? Because this is now, who's going to look at this. Khamzat Chimaev's going to look at this and go, ooh, this guy gasses. I'm just going to push the pace on him. I'm going to, so for him, does he need to switch camps? Does he need to bring in more wrestlers? Like, if you're Reiner de Ridder now and you're going to Marcel, I need to improve on some things. What would you suggest to him?
Listen, what can I say, man, about him? I mean, he did well in his other couple of fights. Yeah, he gets also a little against Whitaker, but he could hold on for 5 rounds. But this was just bad, for some reason. And why, I don't know. I mean, was it the pressure Brandon put on him at a certain moment? Who will say? I don't know. I'm not going to give him any pointers. I don't think I'm in the position to do that. But it got to be better, man. It just got to be better. It's not good what he showed, I mean, maybe, and I don't know if that's the truth. Maybe he thought I put him out early. That's a possibility. He thought he could have got him out early, which wasn't the case. And yeah, who will say it, man? I mean, he just didn't look good. And if it has to do with cardio, if it has to do with just not being prepared well, maybe he had an adrenaline dump, whatever. I have no idea, but it has to come from himself. He knows what was wrong. I will see what was wrong, but I cannot give you a clear answer to that. I was as surprised as most people how he looked after the second round.
Well, this you can definitely give some pointers on. Mike Malott defeated Kevin Holland by unanimous decision. Kevin Holland got kicked to the nuts, not once, twice.
Yeah.
No points deducted. Damir Yagla basically told him in the first time, look, hey, after 5 minutes, if you don't come out, I'll have to disqualify you. I could feel your wrath, as you said, as you're watching this going, maybe I should kick Damir Yagla in the nuts twice myself and see, hey, Dan, can you get up after 5 minutes? No? All right, maybe I should call the fight off. Like, I could feel your anger going, Dan, you and the doctor just have no idea what it's like to get kicked in the nuts.
Yeah, it was a stupid situation, I think. The thing was like Mike Malott need him. Let's go to the second one. The first one wasn't that was significant as well, but not as significant as the second one. He need him hard, you know. He kind of need him on the belt line, but at the same time, the cup can move, you know. So I believe Kevin Holland fully if he says he has pain, and Kevin Holland not the guy who acts like he has pain while he doesn't have pain. So you saw he clearly was compromised. I think the referee should have stopped the fight and waved it off to no contest. That's what I think they should have done, you know. But then he's like, "Can you continue?" And you clearly saw on Kevin Holland that he actually didn't want to continue because he was in pain, but he didn't want to say, "I don't want to continue." So then pretty much went on with the fight, you know, and then the round was over. I think it only was like 1 minute 30 left in the first round after that, and then Holland still was looking to Mergliata. Mergliata was like, "Yeah, if you stop now, I have to disqualify," and that's also not true. It should have been then it would have been a TKO win for Malott, but it's just stupid, you know. At the same time, the corner also could have been intervening, you know, but it didn't. Fight went on. Holland was clearly compromised. He lost the second and the third round. Malott won. I mean, good win for Malott, but with a heavy asterisk behind it, you know, because does Kevin Holland win the fight if he doesn't get kicked in the nuts or kneed in the nuts? I don't know, but he was winning the first round. So, I mean, there's a point he can say, it's like, "Hey, dude, I was winning until you kicked me there." We'll never know. But I think not very great reffing by Mergliata, but that was not the first time that night. So, yeah.
Like, I'm not an MMA expert, but I thought that if you grab the fence, if you kick somebody in the nuts, if you hit somebody when they're down, there should be like points taken away. It seems in the UFC, a lot of these referees like, "Well, we'll give you a warning, and then we'll give you a second warning. And hey, you keep that again there, buddy, I'm gonna put you on double secret probation. Then I'll give you another warning." I mean, at this point, I know the UFC keeps saying, "Oh, we're not going to interfere with referees. We're not going to interfere in referees." But at some point, should Dana just start like yelling at the referees, like, "Can you please do your effing job? And if not, just kick them in the nuts." Because I'm guessing then they'll do their job.
Yeah, I mean, the inconsistency just sucks, you know, because sometimes they take a point. Also, yeah, he could have taken a point. He also didn't do that, you know. But sometimes they take a point, sometimes they don't take a point. You never know when they're going to take a point, you know, or what they're doing. So it's just random, and that's also a big problem. There should be more like complete rules and into it than just like, "Oh, we can do this or we can do that," you know. That's how I feel about it. But I'm afraid, like, the commissions keep protecting their referees, you know.
So this is how you can fix it, Marcel. You
Yeah,
should go to
tell me.
commissions and just start randomly walking up to some of them and kicking them in the nuts and just say, "Hey, think you can continue for 5 minutes? No? All right, well, let me try it again." And this maybe they'll get the point. I'm putting you in charge of this, Marcel. You're the guy who can fix commissions.
Yeah, that's a good one. Maybe there should be clearer rules, you know, even if you think it's an unintentional foul, you should get it pointed up immediately. Because barely you see a referee taking a point after a first foul, you know, and the fighter knows that as well. So they can do a first foul. I don't think that Malott did it on purpose, not at all, you know, but it's still a foul. Imagine in another sport, imagine in football, you make a foul in football, but they're like, "Yeah, it's your first one. So the touchdown, it's okay." Doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense.
Well, you know what doesn't even make more sense?
Yeah.
MMA judging. That's right. Once again, and poor Ayman Zahabi is, well, let's see. Twitter, MMA Twitter is going, calling bullshit. Once again, he robbed Marlon Vera. This fight sucks. Those goddamn dirty Canadians cheated again. I won't complain about that one. But he wins by split decision victory over Marlon Vera, and yeah, people are not happy, Marcel. They feel that Vera got hosed, and that once again, Ayman Zahabi has been the benefactor of some home cooking.
I completely agree with the scorecards on this one, by the way. I think Amon won 1 and 3. I think Vera won the second round. I think the first round you can argue about. I think that was the closest round of the three. I think Amon landed more than Vera did in the first round, and Amon was also pushing the pace. Vera was very hesitant. I also think the second round he knocked him down, but he kept being hesitant for some reason. He won the second round, so it was was 1-1 to me going into the third. I think Sahabi did more in the third round to win it. So for me, 29-20, it was pretty clear. Although I could see maybe a judge give the first round to Vera, like I said. But I think Sahabi did more in the first and third round. The thing is always like with these fans, most of the fans like Vera more than they like Sahabi, so they're going to complain. And you got these like the degenerate gamblers who pick somebody and they think like, oh, he got robbed. No, he didn't get robbed, man. I think it was a close fight. If it went 29-28 Vera, you wouldn't have heard me complain either. But I think the right guy won, And with Vera, listen, I like Chito Vera, but Chito always complains when he loses a close decision. And he always loses them like in the exact same way, if he loses them. So I don't think it was home cooking at all, in my opinion. If it was, I would call it, that. But I think it was the right decision, man.
So where does Amon Zahabi go from here? Because on one hand, he's racked up quite the win streak. On the other hand, there's a lot of people who are calling bullshit. That he got a gift against Jose Aldo, he got a gift against Marlon Vera. I know you don't agree, but the Twitterverse is going, no. He got Vera got screwed again. So if you're a UFC, who do you match him up with, and does he get to fight for a fourth straight time in Canada, or do they go, yeah, you gotta go on the road here, buddy?
Yeah, but you gotta understand, man. Accounts like Buttfucker 300 and Asswiper 2000, I don't take them serious on Twitter. You know what I mean? So
there were MMA fighters on Twitter who were like, no, this is bullshit.
Yeah,
especially the Aldo fight. There were people who other MMA UFC fighters like Aldo got screwed.
Brother, I'm a massive Aldo fan. But Aldo didn't get screwed in that fight, in my opinion. That was also a close fight, which could have gone either way. I think, yes, Sahabi might be lucky that he wins some close decisions, but those are not robberies, It's the thing is that if a fighter is more popular than another fighter, these random fans gonna go to socials and they're gonna cry wolf about a decision, which is a fucking close decision. I don't think you can cry. And also, these fighters, listen, Vera is much more popular by fighters than Zahabi is, because Zahabi is a good fighter, but he's not really known to the casual public. Vera is more a known fighter. So they're gonna back him more. It's just like that. For Zahabi, by the way, I think he gets now in the territory with fighters that he probably is not going to beat. He has to take on guys like a Sandhagen, maybe a Song Yadong. He called out O'Malley, which I don't think is a good idea. But yeah, maybe he can beat Figgy in the division. That's somebody he also can go to a decision with probably and can beat in a close fight. But all these others above him, I don't see him winning against them, man. And he always has close fights. That's true. But I don't agree with the sentiment a lot of people have that he gets these robbery wins. I don't agree with that at all. If that's true, you know me, I'm always that honest. I tell you that I think it's true, but I don't think it's true. I think he just fights in close fights. And listen, close fights are not robberies. You can see the different way, but it's not a robbery. It's like the Jordan Santos against Danny Barlow fight on this card as well. I thought it was a close fight. And it would have been a robbery either way, in my opinion. I think Santos won that fight, by the way, and he did, so that's good. I'm just honest, and I don't really care about what that other people think that he robbed people. I mean, it's always the same when a popular fighter loses, people are gonna cry. It's the same with Aldo Bautista, man. It was also a close fight, and yeah, it sucks that Aldo has to go out with 2 close losses. I understand that, but at the same time, I mean, believe me, dude, if the roles were reversed and Bautista was Aldo and Aldo was Bautista and Aldo would have got the win, nobody would have complained. That wasn't a really big issue then, because Aldo's a fan favorite, and you'll always see that. But I'm just honest, like I said, and I said for the 4th time. If I say it for the 5th time, I sound dishonest, so I'll keep it this.
All right, so where does Marlon Vera go from here? Because this guy, he can't seem to catch a break now. You look at his record, and it's just like he's now lost 4 out of his last 5. And look, there's a lot of people who thought he should have won the Sandhagen fight. There's a good amount of people who thought he should have won as a hobby fight. You disagree, and you can tell
listen, bro. The people that think that Marlon Vera won the Corey Sandhagen fight, they are fucking retarded. I say it right here. If you really think that he won that fight, you have to take yourself in the home, lock yourself up, and never come outside anymore. If you think that, so that's to the Ojeda referee who scored that for Vera. That fight was as clear as cut for Sandhagen. That fight is a split decision. That's actually a robbery to Corey Sandhagen. That fight was a split decision. That was as unanimous as you could get. Maybe one round Vera won the last one or the fourth. One of those rounds he won, I think. Overall, Corey completely dominated. And again, I sound like a fucking Marlon Vera hater. I'm not. I'm just being honest, And I think Marlon Vera is a good fighter. The problem with Marlon Vera overall with his fighting style is that he's too hesitant. His cardio is good, but he's too hesitant, And because he has that hesitant thing in his fights, fighters win rounds against it, And I still think he can do pretty well in the division. Actually, I saw Vinicius Oliveira calling him out, Lock Dog, who has looked really good in the UFC. I like that fight, man. You got the Brazilian against the Ecuadorian, South America against each other. Book that.
By the way, Ayman Zahabi has called out Sean O'Malley.
Yeah.
I'm guessing you're all for that because you will see. Really?
No.
I thought you would like it because it's like either the MMA judges will really piss off Dana White, or if Dana White will really piss off the Canadians. Either way, for you, it's like just delicious tears of Twitter rage.
Yeah, but that's also why I don't do too many opinion stuff on Twitter, because it only makes people gonna argue with me, and I don't have time for that shit, with random people arguing with me, It's not that I don't want to argue with people, I don't mind, but just don't have time for it, And people are not fair, dude, on Twitter. If they have money on a certain fighter, even when he loses, they will claim he got robbed, If they love a certain fighter, even if he loses, they claim they got robbed, If they have a favorite fighter and he loses, they're gonna make every excuse in the book for him, It's always like that, and I just don't have time for that shit, man. You lose, you win. It is what it is, And in a close fight, listen, I understand if it comes from Vera's point of view that he's like, fuck, I think I did enough in the first and the second round to get at least 2 of the 3 rounds. I understand that from a fighter's perspective, that they're like, actually, those punches that Zahabi hit me with weren't anything special, and I think I hit it the better shots, So I understand from his part. But people calling that a robbery, who watched the fight for 3 rounds and can't see Zahabi winning that fight, it's ridiculous to me, But I can see it from Vera's side as well.
Well, one thing that there was, Vince, we can argue there was no controversy, except maybe the matchmaker decided to make this fight. Unfortunately, everything we thought was going to happen did. Manon Fiorot defeated Jasmine Jadovicius by knockout. 1 minute, 14 seconds in the first round. This didn't go well. And we could have told everybody that. They have a problem. It's like, okay, there's Manon Fiorot, and then there's everybody else. And then there's slightly above her Valentina Shevchenko. What the hell are they going to do here? Because it seems like every time they put Manon with anybody else, it's just total destruction or domination. Erin Blanchfield, Rose Namajunas, Caitlin Shagugian, Jennifer Maya. I mean, like, what are they going to do here? Because if they have to get somebody who wants to take on Valentina, she comes down, or Wang Zhengli, and yet every time they put somebody in with Manon on, she just destroys them.
It's so easy, dude. I mean,
cut Manon Fiorot? Is that your
no? Of course not. No, of course not. No, I mean, you got Weili Zhang. She's fighting Valentina next for the belt, right? That's in November, right? So if Shevchenko wins, she needs a new opponent, obviously. If Zhang wins, we're going to see probably a rematch, So in the meantime, Manon barely took any damage in this fight against Jasmine. And we got Natalia Silva pretty much waiting to fight for a title. put Natalia Silva against Manon Fiorot, you know, and the winner of that one gets a title shot. I think that makes all the sense in the world, you know. Natalia already deserves it, in my opinion, but if she's waiting here for a title shot, she maybe has to wait a little bit longer. So why not fight in between and actually fight a girl who beats everybody besides the champion right now? So I think you should do that, man. I mean, that's a perfect solution, in my opinion.
Meanwhile, should this have been if you were the UFC matchmaking?
Yeah.
Should you have made this match in the first place? I mean, Jasmine's looked fantastic. You know, she was on a 5-fight win streak, but you know, there's levels to this. Beating Fatima Klein, Ariana Silva, Jessica Andrade, that's one thing. Taking on Manon Fiorot, that's a whole different ball of wax. This felt like a huge jump. Like, hey, you just signed to the club league in European football. Hey, great. Let's put you in Bayern Munich. You have a championship game against Barcelona in your next game. Don't worry, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Oh crap, he just got run over and destroyed. You're still fine. We hope.
I mean, it's pretty obvious they wanted to see how Jasmine looked against somebody from how do you say that, with a better quality fighter, you know. And the only way you can find out is when you're actually fighting that better quality fighter. But it was pretty obvious Jasmine wasn't ready for that, you know, yet. So yeah, I mean, I understand why they make that fight. Obviously, it's in Canada. They want to see if Jasmine can do well, and maybe can get back to Canada next year and give her a title shot or something. You know, I think that's why. But listen, she's a good fighter, but she wasn't ready for Manon Fiorot. But I could have told you that before the fight as well. You know, so I wasn't surprised. I think many people weren't surprised, but Jasmine's still a good fighter.
Well, also on the main card, Charles Jourdain did Charles Jourdain things, submitting Davy Grant via guillotine choke, 3 minutes and 5 seconds in the first round. It's time to take this guy seriously here. All of a sudden, you're looking at him, and it's back-to-back victories over Victor Henry, Davy Grant. Where does he go next? I mean, do they run back the Sean Woodson fight? It was a split decision. There was probably people who thought, hey, he got screwed. Let's make that happen. Do they give them maybe Shane Burgos to avenge that decision from 2022? Like, what do you do with Charles Jourdain, who, when he's on, he's just a damn fun fighter to watch?
Oh, it definitely is, man. I mean, I picked Davy Grant in this fight to win. So great win by Charles Jourdain. We know Charles' stuff, you know. He showed it before. He's a tough guy. And we know Davy is as well. I think it was a really, really good performance by Charles Jourdain, man. He timed that knee perfect. And he finished after that, you know. I mean, he finished with a guillotine choke. And Davy is such a tough guy who is not easily to get out of there. So I think it's a massive win for him, man. Yeah, I was really impressed, to be honest, and good for him. And he goes probably top 15. I think he called out Marcus McGee, which makes perfect sense. I think that's a good call out from Charles Jourdain, and I'd love to see that fight. I'd say book it. Why not? You know, that's actually, I think that's a perfect call out from Charles Jourdain, man. So yeah, let's book it.
Meanwhile, what does Davy Grant do? Because he's one of those guys where it's almost, as you said, he's never in a dull fight. He comes hard. He's, you know, a scrappy guy, but you're looking at him and it's like, okay, well, wait a minute. You're nearly 40 years old. This is, you know, another loss when we bring you up to that next level. And most of the guys you've beaten, a lot of them aren't in the UFC anymore. Where does he go? I mean, is this one of those fights where it's like, okay, well, you match him up with just young prospects on the rise, or is there a conversation where next fight, if you don't win, we might have to let you go?
I don't think they will let him go because he's still very valuable. You know, he was on a 3-fight winning streak, so I don't think they'll let him go. But I mean, he still can hang with a lot of these guys, man. He's good. You know, I really like Davy Grant. I think he's a really talented guy. He just lost this fight. It can happen, you know. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. He lost this time. It was a pretty big loss, I think, or a pretty hard loss. But we'll see, man. He'll come back. He's a good fighter. I think he still beats a lot of guys in the division, although he's like fucking 40. You know, he still does great. So yeah, probably not going to be in the top 15 or anything, you know. But you see, he still beats a lot of these guys, man. So, but Jourdain has done very well since he's moved the division. He moved up or moved down the division. He looks really good.
Meanwhile, let's talk about the rest of the card
Sure.
because once again, only in Canada do Canadian referees, mistakes, judging, and other just shenanigans happen. Only in Canada. I'm blaming you, Canada. You guys suck. Dan Miragliotta basically stopped a fight. We thought it was a knockout, but he goes, no, my bad. It wasn't a knockout. Let's continue here as Kyle Nelson took on Matt Favola. Yeah, it's almost like he wants to get fired. Like the fighters want him to get fired. Fans want him to get fired. Betting even Dana White wants to get fired. And probably Matt Favola is looking around going, man, I got porked. And not in a good way. Not in a, hey, pass the lube. This might be fun. But no, Favola got like just bent over on 2 a.m., a Saturday morning Rob kind of, pork.
It was bad from Dan Miragliotta, man. What the hell, you know? He intervened the fight 3 seconds before the round was over, so everybody was like, "Okay, great win for Kyle Nelson, TKO." And then he's like, "No, the round is over." It's like, what the fuck, dude? You know, the round wasn't over at all. You pretty much robbed Kyle Nelson from a finish, and maybe robbed him for 50K bonus. You know, it's absolutely stupid. What else can I say? One of the weirdest things I've seen in a long time in UFC was this stoppage / non-stoppage. You know, completely didn't make sense, and it should have been stopped. You know, and then Carl Nelson loses the second round, and then he loses the third round. He loses the fucking fight. You know, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, Carl won. He deservedly won. Well, man, he might got robbed for 50K. If he beats Favola in the first round by TKO, he gets a performance of the night bonus. Now he didn't get it. So yeah. Really weird. Really weird.
And then in preliminary action, you thought
Yeah.
Miragliotta was bad. Oh, no. John Cooper before that said, hey, watch me in action. Drew Dober took on Propovic in a scrap where, let me get this right here. I wrote on all the notes. He landed a nut shot. Ref didn't deduct a point. Kyle Propovic is visibly hurt. He's waiting 4 minutes to rest. Then the ref decides, I'm going to deduct a point. And then Dober decides, oh, screw this. I got to win by knockout. So what does he do? He knocks him out. And, of course, once again, nobody's happy about this. I can feel you from your couch, Marcel, going, we need somebody to get drawn, quartered, and like hanged by their feet while I beat them with a wiffle ball bat. Or what is it? One of those, a cricket wicket or something.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to get beaten because these referees, once again, seem to just make up rules as they go along. No, it's not a low blow. Now it's a low blow. Hey, we're gonna continue. What the heck is going on?
Fucking ridiculous, man. I mean, listen, I like Drew Dober a lot, you know, and I was talking with Adam about it earlier today, and he's like, do you feel like he did it on purpose? And I'm like, I cannot prove it. And Drew Dober's a good dude, you know, so I don't want to say that. But man, it really was convenient for him at that moment, you know, to do that because he was losing the third round. He was heavily gassing. And because of that, he could take a step back, and Propolek actually had to recoup from the pain he had, and then he got a point deducted, and after he got the point deducted, he went for broke, and he got him out of there. So, yeah, I mean, I kind of felt the same like Adam. But at the same time, I love Drew Dober, and I don't think he's a dirty fighter or anything, you know. So. Hard to say, man. Hard to say. I don't think Drew Dober is a dirty fighter or anything, you know. So I don't want to say that he did it on purpose. But yeah, I mean, I'm kind of on the fence on it about it. But then again, he apologized afterwards because, like I said, Drew Dober was a good dude overall. So he apologized for it, and it sucks for Krikal Popolek, who's now 0-4 in the UFC in the second stint. Or in the second stint, he's 0-2, but totally 0-4. So I hope for him he gets another chance. But you know, the UFC's the thing is, if the UFC knows the how do you say that details about the fight, maybe. But I don't think Dana knows. So he probably sees 0-4 and cuts him. Wouldn't be surprised, you know. But I hope for Kyle that he gets another fight because also this win, just like Mike Malot's win, also for Drew Dober, this has an asterisk around his name, in my opinion.
Meanwhile, there was the undercard featured a lot of knockout submissions. Ari Queeling defeated Cody Gibson first round, 21 seconds. That's you could have looked down, started tweeting something, and then all of a sudden look up and go, "Oh crap!" And the match is over. That's how long it took Ari Queeling to defeat Cody Gibson. 21 seconds the first round in a bantamweight action. Bruno Gustavo da Silva defeated Park Young Sung by rear naked choke, third round, 2 minutes, 15 seconds. You had Stephanie Luciano defeat Ravena Oliveira by rear naked choke in the third round, also 2 minutes and 50 seconds into the round. Melissa Croden, making her debut, defeated Tanya Lisboa by TKO in the third round, 4 minutes and 32 seconds. And that's right, we can't forget about the Dutchman. Yosori Belagari defeating Azmat Koev by TKO 55 seconds into round 3. Which one was the one you enjoyed the most? Which one was the most impressive?
Obviously, I enjoyed Yusri a lot. You know, Yusri, a really good dude, man. He's been trying to get in the UFC for a long time. A 2 contender series fights. Lost the first one to Marco Tulio. The second one he won, but Dana wasn't impressed, so he didn't get signed. He's a really good dude, man. Hard worker, I think, as well. You know, comes from kickboxing background, trains with Alex Pereira, Glover Teixeira. I look really good, man. Listen, I'm going to be honest. I thought that Bekoyev was going to win this fight. You know, I'm going to be really honest. But he looked good. He looked like the veteran in this fight. You know, he picked him pretty much apart from the first minute. And then he finished it by TKO in the third round. Really good performance. I really liked it. And yeah, good for him, man. Like I said, he's been trying to get in the UFC for a long time. Finally gets a shot and fights somebody not a lot of people wanted to fight after his 2 quick wins in the UFC. And then, yeah, he gets him out of there. So that's really big, in my opinion. Really well done.
So, who impressed you the most in terms of their potential? Because as you said, this undercard had some impressive, performances. You also had Jordan Ribeiro dos Santos defeating Danny Barlow by unanimous decision. Of all the guys here, they know that Drew Dober and Kyle Popolek, they're more of the veterans. Who impressed you in terms of like you saw them and all of a sudden realized, they have something here. They might go places.
Who did you say? I didn't catch the name. Sorry.
Jordan Ribeiro dos Santos defeating Danny Barlow by unanimous decision.
Yeah.
Overall, from the undercard, is there anybody that you looked at when they could be a threat for the division? They could be somebody that all of a sudden you go, ooh, they have, dare I say, top 10 potential.
That's a very, very good question. Maybe in the long run, man. Right now, I don't know. Listen, Bruno Silva is still ranked, so he definitely has a potential if he wins his next fight, Croden, I have to see more of her. I don't think she did great in the first round, but she came back and she did well. Although all judges scored the first round for her, I don't know what they were watching. Not really, to be really honest, man. I think they're talented fighters, but they're still early in their career, so it's difficult to say.
Well, let's talk about the big card.
Okay.
I'm excited about this card. Heavyweight Championship of the World. UFC 321, October 25th at the Etihad Arena in Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates. It's Tom Aspinall versus Cyril Gane for the Heavyweight Championship. It'll be Mackenzie Dern and Virna Jandiroba and the women's straw weight for co-main event. Let's start with the heavyweights, though. Aspinall, Gane. Is it me, or does Tom Aspinall have everything to lose and almost nothing to gain? He is expecting to win there, put an ass whooping on Cyril Gane, and if he loses, he might become the biggest fraud in the history of the UFC, according to a lot of people.
Actually, very fun playing with Boris. He has nothing to gain. Yeah, the thing is, like, everybody expects him pretty much to win against Cyril Gane. That's the thing, and he has to pretty much. Already that John Jones is gonna cry if Aspinall loses. He's gonna go after him on Twitter. You already know that. Yeah. Listen, the thing is, like, can Gane overcome the first minutes against Aspinall? Aspinall was very good early on, and very dangerous. And if Gane can come out of the first round, maybe because we haven't seen Tom, I think once, against Arlovsky in the UFC in the second round. But besides, that's always first round pretty much for him. So that's an interesting thing, man, if that can happen. But at the same time, I think Aspinall is a smart fighter. He maybe stands a couple of seconds with Gane. I think he takes him down and he probably either pounds him out or he slaps him, one of the two. And maybe Gane can surprise. Would it surprise me if he surprises, because it wouldn't be the first time. But I think most people will go for Tom in this one. I'll go with Tom as well. I think Tom is really good. I like Tom a lot. I also like Gane. I think he's a great fighter, but I think Tom is the real deal right now. That's what I think.
I was going to say that. It's weird how everybody thinks Aspinall is going to just dominate Cyril Gane. You look at Gane, it's like, wait a minute here. This guy's 13-2. Now, the only two guys he's lost to are the GOAT, according to a lot of people, including you, John Jones.
Yeah.
And Francis Ngannou, who at one point was considered the heavyweight GOAT of the UFC. So it's not like he's lost anybody who's horrible. He's knocked out Derek Lewis. He's beaten Alexander Volkanov twice. Tai Tuivasa by knockout. Junior Dos Santos by knockout. Jairzinho Rozenstruik by decision.
Chris, what it is? It's just like, he hasn't convinced me as of lately as well. This last fight against Volkov, I think Volkov won that fight 29-28, and he got the decision. And I think even the UFC brass was like, that's a bad decision. But, I think that was a bad decision, actually, talking about bad decisions. But the UFC cannot give Volkov a title shot over when he officially loses a fight. So I'm just, Gane hasn't looked great, in my opinion, lately. So for me to pick him, I can't. And Tom, every time I've seen Tom look good. So I have to go with Tom here, man. And yeah, we'll see, man, what happens. It will be interesting for as long as the fight goes. I don't think it will be very long, but will be interesting to see what they're going to do. It's pretty much a fight I've been waiting for a long time. Probably the best two European heavyweights against each other. Yeah, fun.
You know what happens if Aspinall loses, though?
Yeah.
Not only is John Jones going to crow about this, but Jones fan club. I'm even accusing you. I know you said we've broken up. That John Jones was never your friend, but you're still tight with him. He is your GOAT. And there's a part of it's like, please come back. I will forgive you. We will have Jaeger bombs and laugh about this. Just come back, one more fight. If Aspinall loses, but the John Jones fan club is going to just go, what a fraud.
I mean, they don't
tell you fraud.
They can't say anything. It had heavyweight. Jones retired. If he wanted to show that Aspinall was a fraud, he should have fought him. So I don't think they can say anything. Listen, Jones, for me, the light heavyweight goat 100%. But at heavyweight, he's not the goat, in my opinion.
Let's look at the rest of the card. It's kind of, yeah. I mean, I'm trying to put it in a good way, because I'm looking at this, and if it's not bad, I mean, it's a good little card. It's just you're sort of looking, going, all right, well, it's Usman Nurmagomedov versus Batista. It's Umar Nurmagomedov versus Mario Batista. It's Virna Jandiroba versus Mackenzie Dern, Alexander Volkov versus Jaitan Almeida, Alexander Rakic versus Azamat Murzakhanov. It's a solid card. It's just there's going to be a lot of people going, who the hell are these guys? They're not big names. What are stakes? Like, rate the main card for me here, because I like it, and I'm also sort of underwhelmed by it. I don't know how to explain that to people.
I think it's a good card, man. Let's go to the co-main event first. We got for the vacant title, Virna Jandiroba against Mackenzie Dern. It's a rematch. They fought each other before. Mackenzie won a 3-rounder back then, unanimous decision. Yeah, it's an interesting fight, man. You know, two girls who are really good on the ground. BJJ very strong. Striking, yeah, not amazing. I think Mackenzie has probably more power, but that's an interesting fight, man. I think I see this probably going to a decision, man. And who has the better cardio probably wins the fight. I think, you know, it's an interesting one. I picked Verna, by the way, if you want to know, but I think it's a close fight. The other one was it Umar against Batista.
Umar Nurmagomedov versus Mario Batista.
Yeah, man, and also an interesting fight. At the same time, I rate Umar pretty high. You know, Umar is actually the only guy who really gave Merab a tough time, in my opinion, in the championship run. He won 2 of the 5 rounds against Merab, but Merab just better cardio. So for me, I think if Umar wins this fight, he gets next title shot against the winner of Merab against Gane. So I see Umar winning this one, to be honest. Decision, probably. I don't think he finishes Mario, but decision, clear decision. We got Jelton Almeida against Alexander Volkov, probably the next contender for the heavyweight title. Also a very interesting fight. If Almeida grapple fucks with Volkov, he can win this fight, I think. If he doesn't do it and he goes striking with Volkov, Volkov wins the fight because Volkov's striking is way better. I also think Volkov's pretty good on the ground, but Almeida lost to wrestle fuck, so he probably tries to do that with Volkov as well. And if he can do that, he wins the fight, I think. And what's the other one? We got Rakic against Murzakhanov. Interesting fight. Rakic hasn't won for a very long time. 3 losses in a row. But I gotta say, he lost to former champions in Blachowicz, in Prohaska, and Ankalaev. So those are not really bad losses, in my opinion. Murzakhanov still undefeated, but hasn't fought like the quality opponents Rakic fought. I think it will be an interesting fight. I'm picking Murzakhanov, but man, I wouldn't be surprised if Rakic wins, because I think that's a very close fight, in my opinion.
There is one fight I want to get your unbiased opinion on, because I know that as soon as it got made, you looked at this and went, no, not my watch, and try to cancel it. I know you probably had your peeps, even some of those government peeps like Geert Willems go to Dana and go, cancel this. It's just 2 fat people fighting. I don't approve of this. That is a heavyweight fight between Chris Barnett and Hamdi Abdelwahab at heavyweight. I love it. It's 2 big, meaty men throwing ham hocks, trying to slam each other. And I can already hear you go, oh my God, why are they here? We could put 2 more bantamweight fights instead of these 2 guys. Is it true, Marcel? Did you try to cancel this fight? Are you the guy who complained to UFC? Why do we need these 2 guys fighting?
I'm going to tell you this right now, Chris. If this is a fun fight, this is only a fun fight if Barnett wins. Because if Abdelwahab is going to win, this is going to be wrestling, grinding against the cage for almost 15 minutes, and he tries to get him out of there. Maybe he tries to get it finished, but it's not going to be a fun fight if Abdelwahab gets his way. It's going to be a fun fight if Barnett can strike with him. Then it can be a fan favorite fight, I think, you know. But man, I can't just not pick Chris Barnett in this fight, man. I just can't. I wish I can, because I think he's a much more fun fighter to watch than Abdelwahab is. But I can't, man. I cannot pick Chris. I hope he does well, because everybody loves Chris Barnett, you know. But I mean, how Abdelwahab is going to use his body fat and try to. But I want to say body weight. I'm sorry, I didn't even try to be disrespectful.
No, you said that. You just don't want to say anything bad about Chris Barnett. because you can't say anything bad about Huggy Bear.
He's
That's
a
like
great
kicking
dude.
like a puppy. You can't even do that.
He's a great dude, but the thing is, like, he doesn't fight too often. And listen, best way that can happen is that he gets a knockout early in the fight, you know, and then everybody's probably happy besides Hamdi. But yeah, I think Hamdi's going to wear on him probably, and maybe try to get him out. But I think it will be a decision. I don't think it will be a fun fight, but if so, I hope it will be, man. And I hope it for you. I hope so.
Give me your favorite undercard fight, because if we have, besides Ada Wahab versus Barnett, we still have 6 more fights. So we got a women's strawweight between Jacqueline Amorim versus Mitzi Inoue. We got a flyweight fight between Azat Maksum versus Mitraposo. Nathaniel Wood versus Jose Miguel Delgado at featherweight. Ikram Askarov versus Park Jung at middleweight. Ludovic Klein versus Mateus Rebecki at lightweight, and then a lightweight scrap between Abdul Karim Al Sawadi versus Mateus Camilo. Give me the two fights you like. I mean, the ones that you'd recommend. We need to watch these; they will be fun.
Well, Ludovic Klein against Mateus Rebecki, that sells itself, I think. You know, 2 action fighters. Rebecki has been in like 2 of the best fights the last couple against Oral Bay and against Duncan, fight of the year kind of candidates. Guy is a great fighter to watch. Ludovic Klein, also super technical striker, kind of struggles with a real good wrestler like Mateusz Gamrot, but Rebecki loves to strike as well. That's a very interesting fight, I think. You know, I'd love to see that one. We got Walter Walker against Louis Sutherland, which is also, that's actually a heavyweight fight, but I expect something there. I expect Walker to get an early sub or either Louis to knock him out. So that's a fun one. And one I'm really also looking forward to is the Nathaniel Wood fight against Jose Delgado. You know, Wood comes to fight. He is, I think he only lost one of his last 5 or 6 fights. He looked good. And Jose Delgado is kind of a special talent, in my opinion. You know, destroyed Hyder Emil in his last fight. He's 2-0 in the UFC, looked really good. That's a fun fight. And I really like Jacqueline Amorim. I think she's very fun to watch, really good jiu-jitsu. And not really not bad looking as well. So I like to watch her as well. So yeah, those are the fights I'm pretty looking forward to in prelims.
4 heavyweight fights, Marcel. I'm surprised you like this card, because I can imagine as when they announced 4 heavyweight fights, you must have went, God damn it. We got a bunch of chop-chops. Gane, not Gane, and of course Aspinall. We're like, no. And not Volkanov, because he's skinny as hell, but he's still looking going, oh my God, we got 4 chubba-chops. We need to get rid of these guys. I mean, I know you've been arguing, you said, get rid of 5-round, 3-round heavyweight fights. Just make it 1 round, 5 minutes. That's it.
I called McMahon. I was like, are you fucking crazy? You know, but he was like, no, you'll see this is a good card. You know, I was like, okay. I'll come back if not so. So I trust him for this time. So let us see if it's a good card. You know?
So in all seriousness, before we let you go, does Tom Aspinall have to win by dominant fashion to quiet critics, to get John Jones to just go away for good, and now just come back and go, see, I didn't retire because of Tom Aspinall. I retired because there's no challenge. Does he need to win by like 1st round finish?
He just has to win, man. That's all. You know, he has to win to solidify his reign as a champion for the first real belt. Let's put it that way, because all the others were interim. He needs to win. That's it. You know, and it doesn't matter how he wins. Of course, if it's a split decision or a robbery or whatever, then it's not good. But he just has to win, man. That's all. He has to win. And that's the most important thing in that fight. And we'll see if he can. If he can, it will be good for him, you know.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, we always love having on the show. I give you, once again, from Eurosport UFC MMA Odds Breaker podcast, and from Topology, I give you Marcel Dorff. Marcel, once again, where can fans check you out at? Where is Twitter, the Instagram, the Rumble channel, probably YouTube? I'm guessing you have a Twitch channel now, because you probably want to stream and show everybody all your sick UFC video game moves. Where can fans hit you up at?
Just Big Marcel 24, Twitter, Instagram, Eurosport.nl mixed martial arts section, articles, MMA Odds Breaker, lives normally on Sunday, preview and recaps of UFC cards with Adam Martin. And as always, thanks for having me, Chris. Always a pleasure. And Yeah, love the back and forth, you know that.
Pleasure's on mine. Marcel Dorff, ladies and gentlemen, always on a pleasure having on the show. We come back. We got a lot more going on here. Only on it's Last Call. Last Call of the Alcohol. Only on the Last Call Podcast.